Hello everyone, welcome to the Code, and I'm going to make you expert in this NGINX with this series. This series will start from the very basic and it will go to the very advanced. After this series, I will assure you that you will be expert in this domain and you will be able to deploy your application in a way like these most of the enterprise applications are doing. So, without any delay, let's start. So, first of all, let's see what we are going to learn. In this part, the first part, we are going to first of all understand like why Nginx, why we use Nginx and what it does. Then how it works. We are going to see the block diagram. After like understanding this why Nginx and what it does, this how it works will be very clear for you. Like you will be able to interpret that what I'm going to say in this section. Then we will see like which type of application use this Nginx, because that's also a case like if we don't know that which applications are using it, then how we are going to implement it. Okay, so we will start from the first point, why Nginx and what it does. Okay, so for that what I will do, I will just open the Artrage. Okay, fine. So let's say there are multiple scenarios. So okay, so you have a application. Okay, so it is your application which you developed in your local. And while developing your application, what you did, like when every time you are going to test your application whether it is working or not, you went to the browser. Okay, it is the browser, and inside the browser you try to hit the local host colon 8000. Let's say your application is running on 8000 port of your local host while developing your application. But there is a one more thing. If you see something here, that is the HTTP. You created your application in a way so that it is in a local, it is only handling the request which are coming from the HTTP. But if you go to any other website, Facebook, let's say Facebook, when you go and enter the URL, the actual URL will be HTTPS, HTTPS, then facebook.com. If you see that your traffic is going with the HTTPS, but while developing the application, you use the only HTTP. It means inside your code, inside your code, you didn't handled or you didn't even think about that how I am going to work with the TLS communication. This HTTPS, the S is stand for the secured layer. Okay, so all the traffic which is coming from the HTTPS is secure, and all the traffic which is coming from the HTTP is not secure. How you are going to enable your application for the HTTPS, for this secure layer? To do that, either you can do one thing, you can go to your application and you can create some utility to convert HTTPS HTT, HTTPS to HTTP, and then use this in your application. Then whatever the traffic is coming, first of all you have to convert this HTTPS into HTTP, and then only your application will be able to perform the actions the which you wanted to perform. Or there is a one more simpler option. Let's say it is a user from the internet. Let's say some another user who just want to use your application, but he just have only the internet. Okay, so it is the internet. So what this user will do, user will go to the internet. In the internet, the user will type some website. Let's say you have just created one website with the name of abc.com, abc.com, and the user will try to access this abc.com through the internet from its browser. If you use NGINX here, what this NGINX will do, it will take the request in HTTPS. Okay, let me just clear the noise from this board so that we will be clear like what actually we are doing. Okay, so we are not going to create the utility because it is a too much workload for our application. We do not want our resources to be busy in that work that is not relevant for our application. Okay, so okay, let me come back to the pen. Okay, so here it is. So what this Nginx will do, it will take the request in HTTPS and it will send it to your application in HTTP. So what this Nginx did, let's just think about the Nginx as a black box. This Nginx box is present between the internet and your application, the application which is running on a server, and this Nginx is between this internet layer and your server. So this internet will send the traffic to the Nginx in the HTTPS, and this Nginx will convert this HTTPS to HTTP, and then it will send the traffic to your application. So in this way, what it did, like your application was designed to handle only the HTTP request. The API you have created was designed to handle only the HTTP request, and this Nginx allowed you to use that. So you don't have to worry about the HTTPS from now. All you have to do is just to use the HTTPS in front of your application. Okay, so it was the first use. Let me clear this one so that we can go for the second case. Okay, so the new painting, don't say, fine. What just happened? Okay, new painting, use window size. Okay, fine. Now, in the second case, again, your application is running on some server. Let's say it is a server. And again, the application which you have created in your local, right now you are trying to mount this application into some server, let's say in AWS server, in Google Cloud server, in Azure server, or some server which is accessible through the internet. So what you are trying to do is like, again, you are running your web application here. In this web application, when you are going to start, again, it will start with the local host. Let's say local host, again, this 8000 port, 8000, 3000, anything. It can be anything, like whatever the port you have defined, but it will start with the local host. And it is the internet layer. It is the internet layer, and it is the users who want to use your application. But if I see in a internet, if I want to access some service, I have to provide some domain name there. That domain name is nothing like this facebook.com, that's a domain name. This google.com, that's a domain name. And these are the names which we usually type on the browser to access any application. But your application is running on the local host. Then how we are going to link this domain name to your local host? There should be some mechanism, like there should be something which will create a link between some domain name and the application which is running on your local host, on your server. Again, the hero comes into the picture, that is called the Nginx. What this Nginx will do, it will create a rule, or you can say a map. If someone try to access abc.com, then send that traffic to this server. The server and process it as a local host colon 8000. So this Nginx provided me one more thing. First of all, what it did, it eliminated the HTTPS. Sorry, it moved the HTTPS to HTTP. First of all, it just converted the traffic for me. The second thing what it did, in the internet, it created a presence for me. Like my server was running on some server, sorry, my application was running on some server, and that server should be reachable through some DNS name, some domain name. That's why my application will be distinguished in the internet by the other people, so they can remember the name. Okay, if this abc.com is hit, then you will find this application. And this is the same thing for all the application which you are using over the web. So this Nginx provided me one more thing. This Nginx will provide me a feature where I can provide the domain name into it, and this domain name then will be linked with the server where my application is running. So these are the two things which this Nginx did for me. Like these are the two main things which mostly required if you want to launch your application. Now let's come to the third case. Okay. Again, don't say window size. Okay. Now let's come to the third phase or third usage of this Nginx. So let's say your application is very useful, and you think that thousands of people are going to use your application. So if thousands of people are going to use your application, it means a single server will not be able to handle all those requests. We need to scale it. So to do that, what you did, you got few servers, let's say S1, S2, and S3. These are the three servers. In all the servers, your application is running. This localhost colon 8000. At this address of each server, this application is running. The application which you just designed is running on all the server at as a local host colon 8000. Now there are users. Users don't know about anything what servers are there. Like every server, they just know only about your domain name, the name which you have provided to your website. Let's say for here we are using abc.com. It can be something Facebook, it can be something google.com, it can be something canva.com, it can be anything. So for the user, what they will do, they will just type the abc.com in their browser. Now we know that there is a one black box, this Nginx is sitting between the internet and my server. So right now what Nginx will do to help me, so that this user, the request which a user is sending over the internet should reach to the server where it is required, like uh, in based of like S1, S2, S3. S1 is not providing anything, but S2, S3 are busy at some place. And let's remove all the things. We just understand the first flow. Sorry, we will just understand the flow first, and then we will go for the next scenario. So here this abc.com will go to the Nginx, and what this Nginx will do, it will distribute the load. It will distribute the traffic across all the three instances evenly. So this Nginx again gave me one feature, this load balancing. What it did in a round robin way, if I didn't provided any rule, I will tell you like what these rules are and what I'm talking about, like what are the rules or instructions. But just for now, understand that when user is sending something, sending some request, it will go first to the Nginx, and then Nginx will decide whether it should go to the server 1, server 2, server 3. And this Nginx already have a map. There it is. It already have a map where it have like all the details of this S1, S2, S3. Let's say this S1 have some IP XYZ, S2 have some IP SDK. It is just a random name. And S3 have a IP of 123. So it have a map of all the servers which you have or which is present inside this infrastructure. And this Nginx will route the traffic to the S1, S2, S3 evenly. It will make sure that your request reaches to the server where the load is less. This Nginx have this kind of intelligence that it will make sure that it will reach to the server where which have the less load. So it also let you do something. It just create a mechanism so the user who is trying to access your application will get the faster result. Even though thousands of users are using your application, it will still try to make it in a way so that the user who is sending the request will get the result in very less time. It's a very good use. Okay, now let's go for the another use. It is related to this. It is related to this one. Okay, so let me just go to this one. Again, this Nginx. So these are the features. The first feature, it eliminated the HTTPS and it make the request to HTTP. Then what it did, it provided the name to my website. It linked that name to my website so that any user over the internet can access my application, which I'm trying to sell or which I'm trying to load over the internet. So like everyone can use that feature. And the third thing, if I know that my application will be used by so many people and I have multiple servers which are running these uh, application. So this Nginx will balance the load between all the servers. It is a very good feature. Now let's come to the another one. So if there are thousands of users are using this, it means should we use only a single Nginx? Okay. So it is your server. Let's say it is your server or it is your cluster. What is cluster? Cluster is something where your all the server and all the network related thing exist for your application. So in this cluster, there is this S1 server, S2 server, and S3 server, like the same old mechanism, S1, S2, and S3. Again, there are user 1, user 2, user 3, and so on, user 1000. It is the internet. It is the internet. And they are trying to access the abc.com from the internet. This internet will send the request to my Nginx. What will happen if all these thousands user will send the request simultaneously? What will happen? Like I have this single Nginx which is running, and this Nginx is just a black box. I don't know like how it is running, where it is running. For me right now, it is just a Nginx is a black box. But this Nginx is really good. And why so? Because it can handle the request asynchronously. Asynchronously means like if 1000 requests reaches to the server, it will be able to handle all the requests simultaneously. It have this feature. This Nginx can take the 1000 requests simultaneously and then it can route those requests to the S1, S2, S3 based on the load. Again, it resolved a very difficult problem for me. If I didn't have the Nginx, then I had to create one mechanism in which that particular application or server should take the request simultaneously and then distribute it evenly across my servers where my application is running. But this Nginx is doing it for me uh, in a very less time. This Nginx have this Nginx is designed to work in a way so that you will get the optimal result. And also, there's one more thing. There's a one more thing. What is this? If Nginx is getting 1,000 requests per, let's say, at a second at the same time, it will send the request. It will keep a record. It will keep a record. It will keep a record of request and at which server. Okay, it will keep a request or sorry, it will keep a record of request and to which server it's sent. Let's say out of 1,000 requests, one request received and it sent it to server 1. It will not wait for the server 1 to reply. It will just keep the record. What it will do, it will just send the request to the server 1 and then it will free its resource to accept the another request from the server. It might be from the same user or another user. But because of this record, what it will do when the server 1 is ready with the response, this response will go back to the Nginx. This response will go back to the Nginx. Nginx will understand, okay, I have the metadata about this request response, like from which server or from which user it came, and I will send it back to that user using the internet, and that user one will be happy that okay, my request is served by your application. So this Nginx provided me one more mechanism that it will free itself, like it will not wait for the response to come. If you are sending a request, it will free himself and it will send a request to the server one and it will just keep the record. So it will listen from like bi-direction in a bi-directional way. It will take the request, it will take the response, it will process it, and it will send it back to the accurate user from where it is requested. So these are the mechanism which is provided by the Nginx. And currently, if I say this Nginx is the backbone of most of the application which are served over the internet. Okay, so this is the thing which provided me a simple idea like why we are using this Nginx, why we need to learn this Nginx. It is just a very simple structure of server, but in a real time, the structure scenarios, sorry, servers structure scenarios are way more complicated than it. And at that time, it might be possible that you are going to use the different Nginx as well. Like you are going to use multiple Nginx because of the heavy load your application is serving. Because again, you can set the limit. You can set the limit for each Nginx. And why I am telling this? It might be possible that you have some reserve resources that you do not want to run all the time because it will increase the cost of your application. So what you do, you set a limit for a Nginx server. And when that limit reach, let's say 1,000 requests are coming simultaneously or 1,000 requests are coming in a way, the way you set it in your Nginx configuration, if that reaches, the threshold reaches, what it will do, it will tell your application now it's the time to use the another Nginx and another resources which are connected to that Nginx. So now you can understand that why this Nginx is very required because it will give you so much scalability while you are running your application. So I guess we understood why we need to use the Nginx. Okay, just so let me just close it and then we will move it to the second part where we will just discuss the same thing. Not the same thing, but in a structured way. Okay, so let me just close it. Okay, so why Nginx and what it does, we understood. Now let's come to the second part, how it works. So we are going to just summarize it, what we have learned till now. So it is the cluster. Inside this cluster, you have three server where your app is running, and you have the Nginx in a same cluster, like in a same network. You have the Nginx and you have the application running on the multiple servers. It is the same application. You just scaled it. And right now, this Nginx, it can like it either running on a server or as a service through container. So how you are going to run this Nginx? It might be possible that you have one server and you are dedicatedly running Nginx in that server to increase the load efficiency. Or it might be possible that you have some server. In that server, you can create a Nginx container or Nginx service, and that you can expose it to the internet gateway. When you expose that service to the internet gateway, it will work as the same which we have discussed till now. Okay, so it is our setup. It is a very basic setup. And now, what this client will do? Client is nothing your browser or mobile app. A user will go and use the client. It might be a browser like Chrome or Firefox or anything, or it can be mobile application. So this mobile application will send the HTTPS request to your Nginx. And what this Nginx will do, if you see from the like it took the HTTPS and then it sent the HTTP to the running servers. So what it did the TLS or SSL termination. TLS SSL termination. It is called as TLS SSL termination. When you converted, when you decrypt the HTTPS to HTTP, it is called the TLS SSL termination. Okay. What the second thing it do? It did the load balancer. As I told you, this Nginx have the capability to check where the which server have the less load. So it will redirect the traffic to that server so that your application will provide the service, optimal service. So it provide the load balancing too, this Nginx. Then routing rules. What are the routing rules? So this routing rules are nothing. Let's say if your Facebook, you can see at the down, if facebook.com is called by someone, then send it to Facebook underscore UI underscore service colon 5000 slash home. So you have a server. In that server, you are running your application, and that application is might be running as a container, and that container is exposed by the service. You just created a service on top of that container, and that service is accessed through the 5000 port, and that service name is Facebook underscore UI underscore service. So you can create a table, you can write a instruction. Actually, this Nginx use the configuration file. It's a .conf file. Inside this .conf file, you just have to write simple instruction like line by line, and there you can provide like I want to convert this traffic which is coming for the facebook.com to this particular service. Like I want to send this traffic for this facebook.com to Facebook UI service colon 5000. And if facebook.com is called by someone, then send it over the server IP colon 8000. Let's say you didn't create any kind of service. All you have is just running a server and application running on it. So you can define that server IP as well. That server IP colon 8000 slash home. That will also be work. But there's one question like how in the internet, how the internet knows like where your Nginx resides. How I'm going to find this facebook.com at your Nginx. So what usually happen is you take the website from some website providers like GoDaddy. Like from GoDaddy, you can go and you can buy some site name. What it actually did is when you try to hit that particular name which you bought from the GoDaddy, that GoDaddy hosts that particular domain name. So in from the internet, that your request will go to that server where that GoDaddy is hosting that website name, and there you have set your service name of Nginx. So from there, this GoDaddy.com will route the traffic where it is hosted. I will tell you all the things in explain. It is just for the understanding. Uh, it might be possible that I'm skipping few things, but it is for the later part. So it is just a route from that traffic to your Nginx, because that GoDaddy.com where it is hosted, they know where your application is running, where this Nginx is hosted. So they will know, okay, I need to send it to this Nginx, and this Nginx will then serve the purpose for which it was created. Okay, so it just completely comes under the routing rules. And then this event driven and async. Again, as I told you, like we can provide the limit in this Nginx that how much request you should handle, and also all the request will be handled asynchronously. So the request will come, it will not wait for the first cycle to get completed. Even for the same user, it will again take the data. And event driven, the same thing. Event driven is like you have ordered something, and then waiter is not waiting at the kitchen. They just came back and taking the order again from someone else. So this event driven is like whenever a request is coming to this application server through the Nginx, Nginx is handling everything in an optimal way, so that it can serve the other request as well as it is serving your request. Now let's come to the part, which type of application use it. Okay, so we understood few things, that okay, it is used over the internet. It is for the load balancing. It will handle all the traffic which is coming over the internet for the application. It will give my application a name which can be used by the users which want to use my application. But which type of application use it? So in a very simple way, if I say, any application that receive HTTP, HTTPS traffic at scale can benefit from Nginx. So any application which you are accessing over the HTTP or HTTPS can use the Nginx. See how large the market is for the Nginx. So the web application, like all the SaaS application, your Amazon.com, your e-commerce website, they all are using Nginx. API based application. So the application where they are just selling the APIs to the user, they are also using the Nginx. The microservice architectures, like the services which is created on the Kubernetes, they are also using the Nginx. The high traffic, high concurrency systems, like all the media platform like YouTube and Netflix, they also using the Nginx for this, because this Nginx is so good. They can serve billions of users if you set up in a correct way. In a real time application, the application like your stock market application, where you have to provide the real time data to the users. So these real time applications are also using the uh, Nginx. This Nginx is so good. I guess everyone should know about it if they are software engineers. Now, let's see which applications are using it in a real time. Okay, so Netflix, this GitHub, this Uber, Airbnb, LinkedIn. Like, these are the giants, and they are using the Nginx because it is good. So that's it for this particular part one. And in the second part, we are going to develop our first Nginx configuration. I will teach you about its syntax, about its keyword, and how we are going to integrate our local developed application with the Nginx, so that we don't have to use this 8000 port every time when we are going to access it. So thank you. Thank you for watching. And if you like it, then let me know in the comments, and please subscribe it, share it if you like it. Thank you.